Ahead of Cutdown Day, New York Jets general manager Darren Muji has shown that he is going to work the phones to squeeze every little draft pick, every little penny out of roster bubble players. And according to a new report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, he's not just done doing that. With Cutdown Day being under 24 hours away, who could be on the move for Gang Green? Who can Gang Green bring in? We'll talk about that and much more, all coming up here on a Monday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, joined by the great Robbie Sabo of Jets X Factor, baby. Let's roll.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Long.
What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone, and welcome back here into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk as we come to you guys live right here on this Monday evening, Cutdown Day Eve, August 25th, 2025. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way into the building because it is completely free and it helps the channel grow significantly. I'm your host, Connor Long, right here with you guys on NY Flight Jets Talk. Again, make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. Completely free, and it helps the channel grow a ton. We just reached 2,000 subscribers on NY Flight Jets Talk on last night's show. We're currently at 2,010, so keep hitting subscribe, keep hitting the like button. 3,000 by the end of the season, baby. Let's hit that goal. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. We're simulcasting today's show on the Jets X Factor YouTube channel as well. So shout out to you guys consuming the content over there. Drop over to NY Flight Jets Talk as well. Shoot a sub. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Jets X Factor YouTube channel. Make sure you do that. For sure, we appreciate all of your support, questions, comments, thoughts. Load all of those up in the chat. We will get to those. You guys can call into the show by using the pinned comment at the top of the chat. And don't forget about the paid way to help us grow. Details on the scrolling ticker down below. Every $2 super chat or gifted membership get you an entry into our membership raffle and an opportunity to win a Sauce Gardner signed jersey, a Garrett Wilson signed helmet, a Wayne Corbett signed jersey, a CJ Mosley signed jersey, a Bart Scott signed photo, a Don Maynard signed photo, and the front page of the New York Daily News following the Jets' 1969 Super Bowl win. And I haven't added it to the slideshow yet, but per us hitting 2,000 subscribers last night, a Nick Mangold signed jersey will also be added in the raffle. You see it on the scrolling ticker down below with the leaderboard. Every $2 super chat or gifted membership gives you an entry. We appreciate all of you guys. Again, questions, comments, thoughts, load all of those up in the chat. You guys call into the show. Jets X Factor's Robbie Sabo set to join us shortly right here on the program. So stay tuned for that. We appreciate all of your support as always. And the Jets' first post-training camp practice is in the books in Florham Park, New Jersey today. Training camp over, preseason over. The Jets' first post-training camp practice a day ahead of Cutdown Day after this team has already trimmed down the 90-man roster little by little. They still obviously have a handful of moves, a ton of moves to be made ahead of tomorrow's deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll pull up the cut tracker that I posted on jetsxfactor.com and will be updated in real time while the Jets continue to make moves out on Cutdown Day. And again, expect a bulk of the moves to come tomorrow because tomorrow's officially Cutdown Day and the Jets will have to get down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So there will be a ton of news on Cutdown Day and we will be covering it right here on this very channel, baby. So here are the cuts that the Jets have made thus far. Defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis, cornerback Ryan Bump Cooper, cornerback Mario Goodrich, offensive tackle Samuel Jackson, tight end Neil Johnson, wide receiver Dymere Miller, defensive tackle Fatorma Mobile, wide receiver Pokey Wilson. They traded Derek Nadi, linebacker Jamin Davis, quarterback Adrian Martinez, defensive end Michael Fletcher, offensive lineman Liam Forndle, tight end Zach Kuntz, defensive back Tanner McAllister, running back Lawrence Toafili, and the latest news today, Rashad Weaver, who suffered a season-ending injury, was just released on an injury settlement. That reported minutes before we started up the show. He was released on an injury settlement. So basically what happened is the Jets said, look, we signed you to a 1-year deal. You're out for the season. What they're pretty much doing with Rashad Weaver is releasing him and allowing him to pursue other opportunities with other teams, because his contract with the Jets is done. His time with the Jets is done after he unfortunately suffers a season-ending injury, and he will be placed on season-ending injured reserve again. Not being placed on season-ending injured reserve for the Jets, as he will be pursuing other options. When you talk about the surprising cuts potentially made on this list, the one that catches your eye right away, and my eye specifically, is Jamin Davis, because this is a player I had as the team's linebacker 3 on my 53-man roster predictions for JetsXFactor.com, along with a handful of other pundits. And not only did I expect it, he was going to be on the team no matter what, in my opinion. And again, I expected him to be a linebacker 3. Never in my wildest dreams would I think that Jamin Davis is on the outside looking in 2 days, 3 days before Cutdown days, when they officially moved on from 2 days after Cutdown day. It was yesterday. They officially made the decision to release him. Now, look, I thought he was going to be on the 53-man roster, so it's a surprise either way, but the Jets can still bring him back on the practice squad. He is a vested veteran, so he does not need to clear through waivers. Once the ability to utilize your 16, potentially 17-man practice squad, if the Jets keep Leander Wigan as their international pathway program player, assuming they do, the Jets will have a 17-man practice squad with Wigan not counting as one of those players. And Jamin Davis can just come on the practice squad right away because he doesn't need to clear waivers. He was flat out released, and being a vested veteran, which means 4 more years of NFL experience, you did not need to clear waivers. So I anticipate that Jamin Davis will be on this practice squad, but either way, it's a total surprise here that he did not ultimately end up cracking the 53-man roster. Another name I want to dive into onto this list, a little less surprising, but still a little intriguing this early, is quarterback Adrian Martinez. I've been a huge fan of Brady Cook throughout, since really when he signed with this team in undrafted free agency, and the upward trajectory he's been on, improving really every single day since OTA started, I think is such a promising path. And I think that's the upside the Jets are going to want to gamble on. Look, if you get to putting out Brady Cook on the field this regular season, you probably don't have all that many wins, and you're probably struggling. So you don't want to see Brady Cook on the field, obviously, during the regular season. But there's a glimmer of hope there. There's some upside, something I wrote about for JetX early on in May. The fact that he really didn't turn the ball over at Missouri, the fact that his athleticism is among some of the best we've really seen at the NFL Combine in recent history, his RAS score among the highest that we've seen in the 9.7. So Brady Cook, there's that intrigue. Look, there's some meat on that bone. He's not someone who's a starting caliber quarterback right now. I don't think he's a second-string caliber quarterback right now, but maybe 2-3 years down the road, this is a project that the Jets are going to want to look more into. So I'm continuing to monitor the Brady Cook situation. He's now the lone quarterback 3, whether that'll be a spot on the practice squad or the 53-man roster. That, however, remains unknown. I anticipate the Jets will just roll with 2 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, given the news that we received earlier today. Tyrod Taylor expected to be healthy for week 1. I think the Jets could just roll with Fields and Tyrod on the active roster. Then you have Brady Cook on the practice squad, they could always elevate on game days, because keep this in mind, with the emergency quarterback rule now in the NFL, you can activate 3 quarterbacks on game day without them technically counting, the third guy counting as an active player. However, the caveat is that player can't be on your practice squad. They have to be on your 53-man roster. Each NFL team gets 3 game day elevations for each practice squad player before they have to convert their contract into a standard 53-man roster spot. So I anticipate that'll be something the Jets will try to facilitate with Brady Cook, especially early on in the season and also down the stretch, because Justin Fields has not started a full 17-game season throughout his career. And we know what Tyrod Taylor is. He's injury prone, and he's dealt with a ton of injury throughout his career. He got a knee scope earlier this month, which, let's be honest, that's not a surgery you want your backup quarterback having at 35 years old. However, again, head coach Aaron Glenn told reporters today that he's confident Taylor will be ready for week 1 alongside a few others, and that's what I want to dive into. Isaiah Davis, another name he mentioned, is someone he's confident will be ready for the team's week 1 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And most notably, in my opinion, when you talk about 53-man roster implications, he specifically mentioned Alan Lazard as someone who's been progressing well. Alan Lazard also told Brian Costello, the New York Post, in the team's locker room, that he's expected to be ready for week 1. And this shakes up a lot in the Jets receiver room, because we're talking about these fringe guys competing for roster spots, end of the roster spots, and Quentin Skinner in Brandon Smith, guys with very similar skill sets to Lazard. All signs are pointing in the direction that Lazard is going to be ready for week 1. The way people thought the Jets would be, and myself included, thought they would be able to kind of retain Lazard by him not counting as a roster spot to open the season was him being placed on short-term IR because he was dealing with a pretty severe shoulder injury, I would say, that prompted him to miss multiple weeks of training camp, prompted him to miss multiple preseason games, but ultimately he's healthy. He's expected to be ready to go. And if you place someone on short-term IR, it's a minimum of 4 weeks that they are out. So it's looking like Allen Lazard is going to count against a roster spot for this team's 53-man roster, for this team's depth chart. So that shakes up a ton. We'll get into it shortly with Robbie Sabo of Jets X Factor slated to join us, what that means for the Jets depth chart. Someone intriguing who was at training camp still today is Xavier Gipson, been on the team these past few years. It was looking like Jamal Pritchett's beaten him out for a roster spot. However, I mean, never say never. Normally the day before cutdown day is when you get a real glimmer at guys who are on the field, who are not on the field, and what that means in the sense of 53-man roster implications. And Xavier Gipson was there, which tells me, despite how much I dislike it, because not only am I a huge Jamal Pritchett fan, rightfully so, I think Jamal Pritchett has outplayed him in a significant measure throughout the preseason. Granted, Gibson's missed time to a shoulder injury. This tells me that Xavier Gipson's very much in the running for a roster spot. And I think that's so interesting about the Jets this year under Aaron Glenn. They're continuing to move in silence. They haven't tipped their hand one way or another in the sense of what moves they're going to make, who's the favorite in a position battle. All we've really heard from Aaron Glenn all training camp long, all preseason long, all year long, really, is their competition everywhere. And the Jets have so much depth at a handful of positions. It's going to be intriguing to see what the Jets do. And we're going to see the final 53-man roster ultimately come out tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when cutdown day is officially slated. That's when teams really need to get down to 53. That's the official NFL deadline there. So Jets have so many tough decisions to make in the secondary. You have such a deep secondary. The offensive tackle room, someone who was called out in Jeremy Fowler's report was Carter Warren as a potential trade target for this team. I got word that he was at practice today, so I don't know if he's particularly on the move. But the Jets, again, have a lot of tough decisions to make, and there are some players who are going to get cut by this team who are worthy of 53-man roster spots elsewhere. And we saw with the Derek Nottie deal just yesterday that Darren Muji is not afraid to work the phones, even if it's a late-round pick swap, even if it's a late-round pick, just get something in return for what was going to be nothing. And I think that's something that I've been really proud of by Darren Muji, the fact that, again, a pick swap with the Kansas City Chiefs in the 6th round of next year's draft, is it going to do much for you? Probably not, but you got what was going to be nothing, in this case, Derek Nottie, into something, which was at that late round pick swap. So a player I circled in the video that I released earlier today on NY Flight Jets Talk was Jarek Bernard Converse. This is someone who has played his tail off throughout the preseason, rightfully so, has made an impact throughout the preseason. He has experience on special teams. The question is, can the Jets afford to carry him? You look at the roster locks that this team has in the secondary. Sauce Gardner, Brandon Stevens, Zaire Thomas, Michael Carter II, Quantez Stiggers, Isaiah Oliver, and my eyes are all roster locks here on this team. So teams typically carry 5 to 7, the absolute max. Teams that aren't very deep will carry 7 cornerbacks. Do the Jets roll with 7 and have 1 inactive on game day? That most likely being Bernard Converse. Do they roll with 6? Cut Converse, or in the situation that I'm outlining here, they could potentially look to shop him. This is someone who's a late-round pick a few years ago. The biggest issue with him, however, has been his health throughout his career. Coming out of LSU throughout his first 2 NFL seasons, I think he's played a total of 15 games. So health has been a huge concern for JBC, but what he showed us in the preseason, his coverage ability, his tackling ability, he had a great goal line stand against the Giants to prevent a touchdown inside the 1-yard line, completely off the ball, completely off the play as well, completely off the line of scrimmage. So Jarek Bernard Converse has stood out throughout the preseason. Again, I also mentioned special teams because for younger players who are not going to be a cornerback 2 or not going to be a cornerback 3 on your team, special teams is also a huge path to finding a role on a team, earning a roster spot, frankly, and he has that value. He has special teams experience at the NFL level, so that also spruces up his resume a little bit. Jarek Bernard Converse is the player that I'm circling for this team to potentially look to deal ahead of Cutdown Day. So again, you're at least getting something. If it's a 6th round pick, if it's a 7th round pick, it's better than just outright cutting him. I hope we can agree on that. Just getting something instead of nothing is, I think, what Darren Muji has tried to do throughout Cutdown Day. Derek Nottie obviously being the main move that you point to right away. And I'm hoping that he continues to follow that trend, because I think that's what turns good GMs to great GMs, their ability to just salvage the crumbs. And I understand it's not much, it's pennies on the dime, but I really, really like the way Darren Muji has the moves that he's made, if you will, these past couple weeks. I talk about the defensive tackle trades off the top of my head with Juwan Briggs and Harrison Phillips. He recognized that, man, this team needs help at the defensive tackle position. If you ask him, he probably regrets not taking one in the NFL draft, a very, very deep class, even at the back end of the round, even on day 3, or free agency as well. He could have helped address the hole there. However, the thing that I liked most about this, he used forward thinking as we sit here at the end of August, right near Cutdown Day, and he said, this team needs defensive line help. Let me call up the Minnesota Vikings. Let me see what they'd take in return for Harrison Phillips. Boom, you get that deal. You most likely add your second starter on the interior next to Quentin Williams, a positional battle that's been talked about all offseason long, a former 3rd-round pick who's so explosive, who he spoke about it today. I want to pull the clip up here on the show shortly. He was asked about how he's able to contribute to this team from a veteran leadership standpoint, and he provided such an astute answer. It really caught my eye. His ability to read schemes and relay that to his his fellow linemen across the line, and just pick up on things quickly. Just being a quick-witted veteran, I think, is truly what this team needed next to Quentin Williams. One who can stop the run. You got that in Harrison Phillips. Same goes for Juwan Briggs. He's not experienced as Phillips, but he graded out very, very efficiently last year as a run stopper, granted in just 6 games as a rookie. So I've been very, very, very happy with the way Darren Muji has facilitated these moves ahead of Cutdown Day in August, the 2 defensive tackle trades and Briggs and Phillips that I mentioned there, and also obviously the Derek Nottie trade that went down nothing. Again, just getting something in return for what would have been nothing, moving on from Nottie most expectedly at Cutdown Day. Thank you all for tuning in right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It is completely free, and it helps us grow significantly here on the show. 112 of you guys watching us live on YouTube. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support as always. Questions, comments, thoughts, load all of those up in the chat. We appreciate your support as always. Hit 2,000 subs on this channel just yesterday, so continue to grow the platform. Continue to grow the channel by smashing the like button, hitting subscribe. Also, YouTube added a new feature on mobile, which I found really interesting, where you can boost the video. That should be right next to the like button. So what you can do is just boost the video, and that helps this get pumped out in the algorithm more and more to the Jets keyword. So please, if you can do that, we appreciate your support as always. And joining me right now here on the show, the one, the only, Robbie Sabo, baby. Jets X Factor. Robbie, what's going on, my friend?
Yo, my damn dog. I was just taking her out for a walk, and she ran into her friend Chevy. And they're running around like madmen. They're running around like animals, basically. Freaking animals. And next thing I know, I feel this burning on the back of my knee, like the opposite side of my knee, the back by my hamstring. Just got the worst leash burn of all time. My leg, it's killing me. I got to put something on it once the show is over. I'm so angry right now. I'm at a loss for words. Like I could kill her right now, honestly.
What's your dog's name, Robbie? I don't think we've gone over this before.
So my sister-in-law, Becky, I didn't have a name for her. I couldn't figure it out. And she's a half golden retriever, half poodle. I'm allergic to every dog known to man, but I wanted a golden retriever personality because they're tremendous. You know, they're just the most social dogs.
My aunt has one. They're great. Yeah. He's like 150 pounds too. Golden retriever.
She has a golden retriever. Yeah, dude. If it was up to me and I wasn't allergic, I'd get a golden retriever. Like, yeah, easily. But yeah, she's a great dog. But man, I could kill her right now. God, the burn on the back of my leg is killing me. I'm gonna send a notification out to the app before I forget.
Oh, awesome.
So what are we talking about? What any news breaks since I was on the computer last?
There has not been any news breaks, Robbie. The latest one, which I don't know if you were on for, I threw it in Slack. I added it to our Cutdown tracker. They have officially released Rashad Weaver on an injury settlement after he was placed on season-ending IR. So nothing significant. It was just that he was on a one-year deal with this team, signed during the offseason, and he's on season-ending IR. So what an injury settlement pretty much means, for those out there who don't know, it gets him off the team and gives him the chance to pursue other opportunities around the league. So he's not just trapped on season-ending IR. I wouldn't be too surprised if the team did the same thing with Chris Boyd as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. I was just going over some of the cuts that this team has made. I highlighted Jamin Davis in particular as a name that surprised me. I had him as I don't know where you had him, Robbie, but I had him as my linebacker 3 on my 253-man roster predictions over at JetX. The thing that I told fans, though, not to worry about is he's a vested veteran with 4 more years of NFL experience. So once these practice squad spots open tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he's a guy that could just sign to the practice squad right away. And we don't know if there was a handshake agreement between both those sides. We see that happen quite often with these veterans getting released ahead of cutdown day and then coming right back to the practice squad. But nevertheless, if he comes back to the practice squad, if he doesn't, the fact that he didn't make the 53-man roster is just a surprise to me, Robbie.
Yeah, all things being equal at the start, it wouldn't have surprised me at all. It's just the way things went down. I mean, him and McCrary Ball were rotating initially, and then eventually Jamin Davis took it over. He took over the position. He was pretty much the will in all base looks. So I think that's the only angle in which it's a surprise, because down the stretch, Jamin seemed to have won that battle. And you're thinking, okay, he's definitely on the roster. You know, if it was still rotating, I think everyone would have had him off the roster, but that was it. And, you know, knowing Glenn, look, he could come back still for sure. He's not subjected to waivers, as you said, but it might just be a cut. We don't know. We have no idea one way or the other. Leonard Taylor, sort of, I mean, not the same thing, veteran status, but, you know, I was at practice today. I did not spot Leonard Taylor.
So I did see him in a picture on the Jets website. So I know it's tough to like spot those guys at training camp, especially when
today's practice.
Yeah, there was a picture of him from today's practice posted on the Jets website.
Good. Okay, good to know. So, I mean, Taylor. Okay, so Taylor's there. We know Brandon Smith. Yeah, Jamin's a surprise, but why I brought up Taylor is Glenn. Everyone knows the rumors coming out of college with him. Questions about whether he loved football, his work ethic, all that stuff. I don't know what's true and what's not. And there was some fears with Jets fans who like Taylor and his upside with talent, that could be the issue. He could be the odd man out, because if he makes the roster, that's 6 D tackles, and that's a heavy room. So we'll see what happens.
Certainly. And one of the things that I love most about chopping it up with you, Robbie, whether it's here, whether it's over Slack, over messages, is because we look at football in different ways. You're obviously coaching high school football. You are way more experienced about the game. You played the game yourself, and you're more of a film guy. Myself, on the flip side, have played it down of football. I covered this team now, my second full season covering this team.
What? I thought you were a tight end. What are you talking about?
No, I have the size. You know, I can.
Dude, you should be playing center somewhere, like on the hardwood. That's what I know. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I played like flag one year, but I was like,
What position?
It was on my school team in like middle school. They had like middle school flag football one year, so I kind of just signed up. I was the center, but there was no blocking, so it was like a blitz, but you had to wait till like 3 Mississippi. Yeah. Rush. So I would snap the ball and then I would run out as a pass catcher. So kind of like the tight end role. You could call me Darnell Washington.
You were the eligible center. I gotcha. I've seen those. I've seen those in flag football. It's an important position, man. They had you pegged.
Definitely. And why I mentioned that there is because you've been a big Brady Cook believer over these past few months, really since he started out in OTAs. You've pointed out the trajectory that he's been on, really struggling to open minicamp, really struggling to open OTAs, and continues to get better, practice in, practice out, game in, game out. On the flip side, I did a film review about Adrian Martinez over at JetX as to why I think he's potentially more than just a camp arm, but that doesn't go without saying that I think Brady Cook, especially following the preseason finale, proved exactly why he deserves to be the third quarterback on this team, whether that's a roster spot or a practice squad spot. We can get into that as well. Something that I really, really appreciate that you pointed out is how he throws with such great leverage, throws with such great anticipation. And I rely on you, I rely on Joe Blewett for a lot of the film analysis. So that's something really intriguing that I think you pointed out. And I know we were going back and forth, and you don't think that the Jets, if they're truly enamored with him and they think he's the guy as a developmental, we're not talking franchise quarterback here, we're talking about a long-term developmental project.
Well, not even that. Not even that. Like you mentioned, I'm a big supporter. I'm a big supporter in him when compared to the competition, Martinez and QB3. You know, that's it. It's a matter of perspective and scenario and situation. In this situation, I just thought he clearly was the better guy. I thought he did great things this offseason. And when I saw him in OTAs at first, I turned to a couple guys. I'm like, what is he doing here? He can't even complete, a 20-yard seam, a bender down the middle. Everything he was overshooting. And, he was hardly under center. And there was a lot of things in college he never did or got to do that he quickly adapted to in the NFL. And when you watch the preseason games, most of Martinez's big plays were out of the pocket, out of the offense, out of the structure. Yeah. He was scrambling. He was trying to make things happen. The game was, at the end in Philly, the game was kind of towards its conclusion. Philly was just sending zero blitzes. In other words, Cook he put stuff on film in which you could see he has an idea. There's something that he went from afterthought to there's something there you want to work with if you're a team. You don't want to lose him. So afterthought to, I don't want to lose this guy. Now, perfect scenario, if you feel good, you could get him through waivers and get him to the practice squad. That's what you do. But you have to feel good about it. And if you don't, I don't think anyone should rule out 3 quarterbacks because Justin Fields is a running quarterback. It increases the risk for injury. Tyrod is a veteran who is often injured. I think 12 or 13 teams carried 3 quarterbacks last year for the most part. It's becoming less popular, but this might be one of those situations. You got to treat Fields as a running back in a lot of ways. So don't rule that out. Perfect scenario is you get him through waivers, get him to the practice squad, but don't rule it out. It's possible. And he picked up the offense. He molded himself around the offense and he played within the offense. That Philly game, the first half, everyone's down on his performance. And I think there were a couple first or second down shots he could have taken, but he wasn't relaxed. He wasn't playing. He was being too rigid to what the coaches wanted. And then when did he start heating up? When they allowed him to, when it was a 2-minute drill and he wasn't thinking and he was just lasering it. 3 tight window throws, which were on the money. So that was the difference. Reading leverage, throwing with anticipation. That one to Skinner, I did on the film, he had to throw back shoulder. And if he doesn't, he's going to get Skinner killed or it's going to be a pick with the underneath coverage. Stuff like that you just don't see from Martinez. Cook, yes, and it's kind of surprising to see it from a UDFA.
Definitely. I think something else that's surprising as well, Robbie, is Martinez, frankly, has experience. And I know we're seeing vanilla concepts, vanilla schemes in the preseason, but Martinez spent some time with Engstrand and the Lions just a couple seasons ago. Brady Cook is a UDFA. Adrian Martinez, now second year with the Jets on kind of a summer tryout is what I like to call it. He's competing for that roster spot. We saw it with Cook this year. We saw it with Andrew Peasley last summer. The thing that I also like about Brady Cook is his athleticism. When I first wrote about him in May for us at JetX, Robbie, I pointed out his very, very high RAS score and his ability not to turn the ball over. In college, he had a 1.0 turnover-worthy play rate last season. So those are the things that you look for in a backup quarterback. You want someone who's athletic. You want someone who's not going to turn the ball over. Now, when you talk about carrying 3 quarterbacks and Cook being the third, if I had to say right now, personally, in my opinion, I don't think he's on the initial 53, but come week 2 of the season, when you start to see the pickups, the releases, he could be on the 53-man roster. I don't think you're going to have to worry about getting this guy through waivers. If you ask me, he's someone that I look at and could be the emergency quarterback on game days. The QB3 emergency rule now in the NFL is they have to be on the active roster. So the Jets could always keep him on the practice squad and then elevate him on game day to be the emergency third quarterback. Teams get 3 game day elevations for each player before they have to sign them to the 53-man roster. So there's ways where you're able to work that out in a sense. But I said it earlier. If Brady Cook is playing snaps for you midway through the season, as much as I love the upside, as much as I love the athleticism, it's typically not looking all that pretty if you're seeing.
Dude, of course, but that conversation is
Yeah.
It's never like, duh. The third quarterback conversation is not as important as the starter. Duh, of course. Like if something happens to the first two quarterbacks, is the team's fortunes looking good? No, it doesn't matter who it is. What are the players? What are the teams? But every roster spot matters. And if Bill Belichick didn't give a crap about every roster spot mattering, Tom Brady would have never come to fruition. Same thing with Rich Gannon in Oakland and Tony Romo in Dallas. The way you build is by not taking shortcuts and evaluating every roster spot appropriately. And, the lazy folks just won't understand that. Lazy coaches who come in and come out. But QB3, whether or not he sees the field or doesn't see the field, it matters greatly. That's the conversation that I think Jets fans should understand.
Also, something I want to touch on when you talk about this quarterback room, I mentioned this in a couple articles last week, Robbie, about the QB room, the QB3 battle. Justin Fields, his scramble-heavy approach exposes him to so many more injuries than a Jared Goff, than a traditional pocket passer. He's never started the full 17-game season. Then when you look at Tyrod, I really like Tyrod. I like the skill set that he brings. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, backup quarterback right now in all of football. But keep in mind here, this guy's 35 years old. This guy just got a knee scope done earlier in the month, and he has dealt with so many injuries throughout the entirety of his career. So I think the Jets will also weigh that and keep that in mind when they make their decision regarding Brady Cook. And Robbie, something else I spoke about before you joined here on the show, and I'll get your thoughts on a report that came out just yesterday from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler indicating that Darren Muji may not be done working the phones, and we could see some more trades to come. He highlighted offensive tackle Carter Warren as a player to watch. Mm-hmm. Someone that I threw out there, Robbie, I want to get your thoughts on him, is Jarek Bernard-Converse. He has stood out in the 2 preseason games we saw him play. He has the special teams experience. He has NFL experience. He showed a surefire tackling ability. He stayed strong in coverage for the most part, as much as you want out of a back-of-the-roster cornerback. Again, he has the special teams experience, which is so important, in my opinion, for NFL rosters when you talk about back of the depth chart players in the secondary. You look at the roster locks in this cornerback room: Sauce Gardner, Brandon Stevens, Azarie Thomas, Michael Carter II, Quantez Stiggers, Isaiah Oliver. I think all 6 of those guys are locks. You see NFL teams nowadays carry 5, 6, 7 at the absolute max at the cornerback position. And the Jets have so many other interesting battles across the depth chart. The Allen Lazard news today certainly shakes things up when you talk about offensively, defensively, this roster as a whole. Could you see the Jets potentially trying to shop JBC? Because if you can get a 6th or 7th round pick for him, I'm all for that.
I don't know. I mean, if you shop JBC, you're down to 9 DBs pretty much. They could carry.
The thing that's interesting, Robbie, that I pointed out in my 53-man roster predictions is Isaiah Oliver has played safety in this very season.
He's versatile. JBC is versatile too. He has safety experience. Michael Carter has safety experience. He's versatile. So there's a lot of versatility there. Malachi Moore is a safety, but he's played some slot corner this preseason. A lot of versatility. And I think my projection had only 9 as well. It's possible. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think the one was it Fowler talking about Carter Warren. That's probably more likely, honestly, unless they keep 10. But I think if you extend it to Warren or JBC, maybe one of the two. Sure.
Carter Warren's interesting. I think I had him on my most recent one. The case that I made for potentially rostering Max Mitchell over him is Max Mitchell at least has some experience at guard, so he gives you more versatility than Warren does. But again, Warren's another guy. If you get me a late round pick, I'm perfectly fine shipping him off. How many offensive linemen do you see this team rolling with come 4 p.m. tomorrow?
I had 9. I'll stick with 9. They could easily go 10 based on their scheme, but I think there are too many bodies at receiver. They're going to carry Beck. They're going to carry 3 tight ends. You have to have 4. Everyone's trying to ship Ruckert out of town. Look, I get it, but you have to have 4. Like, if you keep 2 tight ends and Beck, that's 3. What do you do when you want to go goal line? 3 tight ends and a fullback. You don't have enough. Like, what do you want to do when you go fullback and 2 tight ends? It's Stone Smart and Mason Taylor at tight end with Beck at fullback. You know what? Stone Smart's not the greatest blocker in the world. You know, you don't want him in line. He's more of a receiving tight end, so you need 4. It's a numbers game. I think the only way Rutgers not on the team is if they find someone, you know, a steady blocking tight end that gets cut loose, basically. But yeah, line, I would say 9 right now for line.
Yes, 2 names that I've tabbed, both hailing from the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Former 3rd-round pick Darnell Washington, and then Connor Hayward, who a little bit similar to Andrew Beck as that fullback tight end hybrid. I'm personally viewing anyone right now as an upgrade over Jeremy Ruckert. A lot of people talk
everyone's got to stop going nuts about Ruckert. Dude, listen, he's been a disappointment, but we're going too far. We are going way too.
I mean, those whiffs, Robbie.
Listen, he's been a disappointment, but like we're acting like he's got the plague. Like, let's reel it back a little bit. You know what I mean? It's I hear you. He's had some whiffs for sure, and he hasn't been great. Did Hayward get cut? Is that why you're mentioning his name?
No, Hayward didn't get cut, but I know Arthur Smith likes a lot of tight ends. I don't see them carrying 4 tight ends, and it's either going to be Hayward or Washington. I would love nothing more.
What are you carrying? 3?
I think he carries 3 with Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth obviously leading the way as that clear-cut tight end 1. Hayward could make a compelling case. I'm looking to see, because I know they have a pretty strong backup. I'm blanking on his name quickly behind Freiermuth. I'm going to try to pull up the depth chart.
Is it Janu?
It's Janu. That's the other name. Yeah, thank you. They just traded for this offseason from Miami. So you have Janu, you have Pat Freiermuth leading the way. I don't know why they'd want to carry 4 tight ends, especially when you have 2 guys in Freiermuth and Smith who give you so much pass catching wise. I think you keep one of Washington or Hayward as a blocker, and I think whoever gets cut would fit great with the Jets. Interestingly, Hayward, because he brings a little similarity to Andrew Beck in the sense of he's that H-back hybrid. I personally like Connor Hayward. I think there was a tight end who I don't know if you saw Nania's article earlier today, but he pointed out a tight end who the Jets can look to pick up post-cutdown day. Tucker Fisk from the Chargers was the name that he laid out there. Do you expect the Jets to be in play for any of these post-cutdown day options? I mentioned the tight ends there. Tim Patrick's a name expected to shake loose. We spoke about him a ton as Jet fans earlier on in the offseason.
Well, was Hayward, what was his status last year? Was he on the roster all year last year? Was he on the practice squad?
Connor Hayward from the Steelers. Let me check. I can try
that's I think that's always the biggest thing when looking at these guys and the possibilities is what is the relationship with the organization.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up his Pro Football Reference.
Because if he was on the practice squad last year and he's on the and also
he played in all 17 games last year, so
okay. I always default to 4 tight ends being the baseline. I know some teams go 3. And when you have a fullback, 3 is pretty much the baseline because you got to count the fullback. I don't think, does Pitt have a fullback? I don't know. Let's put it this way. I would not be not interested. And what would the Jets be interested in terms of positions? Everywhere. I think that's their modus operandi here. They're gonna look at everything and anything based on cuts and compare it to what they have right now. I don't think they're opposed to anything.
Certainly. And I think when you look at this roster, I want to get into the wide receiver position, Robbie, because there was an update at practice earlier today. You attended practice, obviously, today, and it was reported that Alan Lazard told Brian Costello of the New York Post he's expected to be ready for week 1. And that adds a lot of intrigue to the 53-man roster predictions because I was under the assumption all along that he was going to be a short-term IR candidate with this shoulder injury. Yeah. And now it spruces things up. It could potentially push a Brandon Smith, a Quentin Skinner, guys who are on that bubble off this team's roster. How does this organization
spruces things up? I like that. That's nice.
Thank you.
And Gibson too. And Gibson was there too today. And
he's more of a Pritchett guy though. Like I view, yes. and I don't know, by the way, how they can't give a roster spot to Jamal Pritchett. I know.
Nah, I would be stunned if they risk losing Pritchett.
Yeah. He's
I would be
another one of my guys, Robbie. I'm proud of my guys who've showed out in my May Fines and Brady Cook, Quentin Skinner, Jamal Pritchett. Give them all three. Give all three of them roster spots, Robbie.
It's going to be interesting with receivers, and I think one of the misconceptions is Jets are a good rushing team, so fans think they're not going to carry a lot of receivers, maybe just 5. That's not the way. It all depends on personnel, and with Lazard and Reynolds and Tyler Johnson, guys who could really block at the position. That's if you don't have the talent, go in a specific direction, a unique direction, and that's kind of what they did with the blocking at receiver because they're going to rush the hell out of the ball. You'd much rather go 11 personnel and have the advantage of Reynolds and Lazard blocking against cornerbacks as opposed to Rucker and Stone Smart in line against box players. So just because they're a rushing team, it doesn't mean they're going to line up and smash mouth 2 tight end sets every play. They might be right up there in 11 personnel. So I expect at least 6 receivers right now. Yeah, it's going to be Garrett. We know the locks: Garrett, Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith. Okay, those are the 4. Let's put them away. Lazard, Gibson makes 6. Pritchett 7. And then you're in trouble. I want Brandon Smith to make it. That's 8. Skinner 9. I got to toss Skinner to the practice squad. I love his route running. I liked what I saw on tape. He's got the height. I don't want to lose him, but he could also put some weight onto him for sure. So he's practice squad bound. You're down to 8. You just got to hope. See, I thought Gibson was gone because injuries sort of derailed his summer, and that might still be the case where injuries got the best of him. And that's kind of what I would push for if I was Glenn, knocking it down to 7 right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button, hit subscribe. He's Robbie Sabo. I'm your host, Connor Long, right here with you guys on NY Flight Jets Talk. We got 345 of you guys watching live right here on the show. So continue to smash the like button. I guarantee not every single one of you subscribe to the show. So just drop down below, hit subscribe. It's completely free. Helps us grow a ton. We cleared 5,000 subs across all platforms. We cleared 2,000 right here on this channel just yesterday. So continue to keep it going. We'll get 3K by the end of the season. I believe in you guys. So continue to support the show. Continue to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, thoughts. Load all of those up in the chat. Robbie, Tim is drawing some comparisons from Brandon Smith to your dog. Thoughts there?
Brandon Smith to who?
He says, Brandon Smith reminds me of a poodle, drawing some comps to your dog, Robbie.
I don't know what that means.
Referring to, I think what he's trying to say is Brandon Smith is balled out this summer. And nothing short of that. And I've tried to push that to the side, Robbie, in my 53-man roster predictions, in the sense of saying that Brandon Smith didn't make much of an impact last year when he was on the practice squad, and they don't need to give him a roster spot. But now I don't think you can deny him of a roster spot. It's going to be so interesting with Lazard, but he's done everything he possibly can this summer to show why he's worthy of a spot on this team's 53.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Pritchett's the lone guy I really care about, and you got to think special teams with receiver. Who you need enough kick returners in the mix. Does Nguanu, Kine, I'll call him Kine. Does Kine make it as the 4th running back? If so, Gibson becomes more expendable, and you go to battle with Kine and Pritchett as your return man. Arian Smith could also do it. Isaiah Davis could also do it on the kick return side. If Kine doesn't make the roster, you're a little bit more limited with Pritchett. And I mean, it would have to be Gibson, I guess, or just imagine no Kine, no Gibson. You got Pritchett. You've got Isaiah Davis would have to do it as a kick returner. I don't know how great you feel about that. Because he's going to get a significant number of carries, and Arian Smith. So you're kind of limited at kick returner if Gibson and Kine both don't make it.
Certainly. Billy SBC says, we're not interested in our own cuts. We're interested in cuts from the other teams that we might be able to use. I mentioned Tim Patrick earlier, Darnell Washington.
Is that what you're interested in? Who is that, Billy?
Billy says that. Yeah, Billy, let us know in the chat, because
Billy.
I'm intrigued.
We don't have a crystal ball. Come on now. Let's wait till they get cut first.
There we go. Wait till 4 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Wait till they get cut first. Like, listen, if there's not enough intrigue within this own roster, I don't know what you're looking for. Like, there's so much here that you could discuss and break down and see who deserves to make it. And I'm sure to some degree, Muji is trying to get a feel for who might be dropped, who might be cut loose. But I guarantee you, Glenn really isn't locked in on that yet. He's still battling internally.
Luke says, can we chat about a bubble player, Corley? Why didn't he get the ball at all during the preseason?
Corley?
Minimally used. Corley.
Corley. Last I heard, he packed his bags and went to Antarctica once the Philly game ended on Friday night.
He had 2 nice kick returns that game. He has no chance of making the roster, obviously, but those were 2 nice kick returns. What was it, 20, 25 a pop? Those were nice returns. But as I said on the postgame show, too little, too late for Malachi Corley. Good riddance.
Yeah, he didn't quite get it done this summer, and he's been vocal's not the right word, but he's shown his displeasure. It feels like I've heard some things. He's made it known how unhappy he is, and Glenn's the type of guy who's not going to put up with that stuff. That's for sure.
Robbie, by the way, before I forget about this, I wanted to gauge your thoughts. I was filling in for Jake Asman on the Jake Asman show Saturday it was, the day after the preseason game.
Who is this Mr. Asman, and what does he do?
He hosted the Michael K show today. I don't know. He texted me. I don't know how he got his number, but how he got my number. But did you give it to him, Robbie? Did you give Jake Asman, my phone number?
I don't even know who this Mr. Asman is, honestly.
Well, filling in for Asman, our colleague Michael Nania joined me on the show, and we both, I think, know Gator McCluskey, who makes all the graphics for Jake, and he created a visual of what he believes Michael Nania looks like, and this was Michael's reaction to said image. I want to gauge your thoughts here. Gator McCluskey, Michael, who is known for creating all those videos, has just texted me what appears to be an AI-generated picture of you. Any thoughts on this creation from Gator McCluskey?
I think that's an absolute abomination. That's my thoughts. I think it's detestable.
Gator McCluskey is pleased with his discovery there. He thinks he nailed it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Listen, I'll back up Nania with the abomination tag, but got that strong beard game going. I'll tell you that.
Oh, he sure does. There were some comps in the chat of Nania to V-Man. Jake said Nania and V-Man are last brothers.
Could be something there. It could be something there. But listen, forget that. Worry about my feelings. My feelings are crushed right now because I'm like a 13-year-old boy who can't grow a beard. Like, if I didn't shave for a week.
You can't grow a beard, Robbie?
Dude, if I didn't shave for a week, I'd look like Joe Dirt, basically. Like the mini version. I'd have a little stubble here and here, but nothing on the side. Yeah, I'm like a pre-adolescent. Nani is just growing hair out of every freaking part of his head. So I'm a little jealous, I must admit.
Definitely. I tend to have to trim up the stash once a week so it doesn't, look awful. But nothing here yet. Nothing here.
You'll be blowing past me in about a year. Don't worry.
I got you in the height game, right, Robbie? I'm just trying.
You're taller than 5'10".
I'm 5'11", so
you're tall. Yeah, you're taller than me. You might be taller than 5'11".
Really? Intriguing.
Honestly, well, tell you the truth, I do slouch a lot, so maybe it feels that way. But yeah, you got me already.
Intriguing.
Score another one for whoever is going up against me.
Alan says if Brandon Smith gets cut, I would tell the Jets to F off and move on. Man, Brandon Smith garnering all this attention. And like I said, I don't think he could have done anything more to prove why he's worthy of a roster spot. But I like the upside of Quentin Skinner over Brandon Smith personally. Like, I just think he gives you so much more as a speedy downfield threat. Someone his size, his athleticism is unmatched, in my opinion.
The problem is he has the height, but he's like a stick figure. He's very
6'5", 195, probably. Like,
what is it?
6'5", 195. He's so lanky.
He's really thin. Like, he doesn't have much strength. But I like him. And listen, if someone's taking Skinner over Brandon Smith, I have no quarrels with that whatsoever. Here's the sad state of affairs for receivers in this league. They're a dime a dozen. The way football's played these days, it's a passing league. They throw the ball all over the lot. You could draft a 3rd or 4th round receiver, and he could turn out to be a stud for you. It's so every draft class it's funny. You hear the same thing. Receiver, tight end, so deep this year. It's deep every year because that's football. Trying to find a great old lineman is tough because it's not taught as well. And they're running the air raid in college, and it's completely different. It's RPOs, it's read options. Receivers and tight ends, it's a dime a dozen. So listen, no one should be crazy shocked if Brandon Smith and Skinner are both on the practice squad to start the year. I think Pritchett's the one guy, honestly.
Double doinks. His thoughts on if Hendon Hooker is an option after getting waived.
Yeah, he doesn't intrigue me that much. He's disappointed. How many years has he been in the league now?
This is his third year. I think he's on the older side too. I think he's 26 or 27. I will look it up. He's 27.
It's not a bad thought. Good comment by whoever that was. Not a bad thought at all. Former Lion. But if I'm gonna bring in a guy, and I keep hearing stuff about Jets should sign a receiver too, you know, Amari Cooper or someone else.
Cooper went to the Raiders today.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not against signing a receiver too. It's got to be well worth it. Like it has to be a guy who's like, okay, this is bona fide for sure, a step above the rest of the crop in the position. And you know, a guy like Gabe Davis, I just don't think is that. He's just one of the bunch, and it has to.
Too.
What's that?
He's hurt too. He had a
huge
knee injury at the end of last year that he's still recovering from.
Okay. In other words, it has to be a clear upgrade. And I don't think Gabe would be that, even Cooper at this stage. I'd rather Arian get those snaps and even Pritchett maybe or someone else. And they're going to rotate every receiver too. Look at Detroit. Jamison Williams is in a rotation, clear rotation. They rotate like hell. Ben Johnson abides by it. Johnson rotates his receivers like defensive coordinators rotate D linemen. Unless your name is St. Brown or Garrett Wilson, obviously. Like there's special situations there. So do I think Hooker is that much better than the guy they have? Probably not. But it's not a bad thought. He's the type of guy. I'll tell you this. He's much better. He fits what the Jets do offensively much better than a Jameis Winston, DeVito, or McCord. I'll say that.
Interesting. McCord is so intriguing, Robbie, because I saw him get released today, and I like him so much as a player. Him and Will Howard were my two guys coming out of this year's draft. He just doesn't fit the offense. Like you can't have Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, then Kyle McCord, who's just he's just a pocket passer at the end of the day. When you talk about Hendon Hooker here, double doink, he's someone I tabbed earlier in the offseason as a potential backup. I actually went back in the archives, Robbie, ahead of today's episode. Last time we did a show was in February, 2 days after they released Rodgers, and we were discussing quarterback options. And I listed Hooker as a potential backup. I think it's too little, too late.
I remember you writing that, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I wrote it for JetX as well. I like Hooker because he has experience in the scheme. He has that athletic ability. He can make plays with his legs. He's someone who I thought would have been a great NFL player if he just didn't deal with those injuries.
And you know what? There's just something missing with him. And let's also – I take it back somewhat. He fits some of the elements they like to do. He's just not the fastest dude. Not even close. Like McCord might even be quicker. But like, it's not a bad idea. I'll say that he fits better than Jameis Winston.
I want to get your thoughts on this because Brooke Pryor, the Steelers reporter of ESPN, had Will Howard in her 53-man roster prediction. But I was seeing some rumors.
For who?
For the Steelers, because Will Howard, I saw some reports that Will Howard, dealing with a finger injury, has been outplayed by Skylar Thompson in the world where he's potentially released.
Dude, people like poo-poo this. Rookie, you know how hard it is for rookie quarterbacks, whether you're drafted or undrafted, to come in and play well.
Oh, definitely. I'm saying when you take a flyer on him, though, like a practice squad.
Skylar Thompson is a veteran in this league who's been around the block, so him outplaying Will Howard will shock the majority of fans, but it shouldn't be that shocking. That should be the norm. Unless you're drafted in a high round. So that's, I don't know. I'd rather have Brady Cook than Will Howard, only because he's been with the Jets and he knows the scheme. You know, if Will Howard started in OTAs with the Jets, I would say I'd rather have Howard than Cook, if that makes sense.
Interesting thought there.
Yeah, and you can't just interchange so many parts. It's one of those things where it has to be a huge, clear upgrade to make it make sense.
That's like what Faria pointed out, Robbie, in his article for us about like why they shouldn't trade for a wide receiver too. It was a great point, and I've reiterated it on the show. The Jets are less than 2 weeks away from their first game of the season. If
Yeah.
you give up assets for a Romeo Dobbs, you give up assets for an Alec Pierce, they're going to have to learn an entire new playbook in under 2
Yes.
weeks. And a point that I've been making aside from that is Justin Fields is not going to throw the ball as much as Aaron Rodgers did. Look, if Garrett Wilson goes
He's
down,
not going to throw as much as Rodgers did in one quarter.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
how many passing attempts do you think you look at for Fields a game? You're talking about what, 18, 20, you think?
It depends on how the defense plays and how they rush the ball. It could be so drastically different. It's gonna be in the lower 10th of the league probably. Like they'll be in the bottom 5 or 6, I'd say.
Certainly. MM's is
And number
Connor
one in rush attempts. Number one in rush attempts.
There we go. MM says Connor Long is the GOAT. Well, MM, thank you for tuning in, my friend. I appreciate the kind words.
Who called you the GOAT?
MM. I'm not aware who MM is, but
Is this there's a fake account you created? You were just typing there a little bit.
Guess so.
I see your game. I see your game. Mm-hmm.
See that? Quick-witted, Robbie. Quick-witted.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new thing around the teenage.
Sock accounts, damn sock accounts.
Pat says, what would the compensation be for Myers? Jets need help at defensive edge and receivers. Who do they take at first at the 7th pick of cuts?
Yeah, dude, defensive edge, good call. Everyone gets hung up on receivers, and I get it. You know, they're not great there. But defensive edge is very thin.
Darius Smith.
How old is he now? Zedarius?
33. I don't want to be wrong. I've written about him a ton since March. He's 32. He turns 33 on September 8th. So he's going to turn 33 entering the season.
That's an old man.
Yeah.
Especially at edge. That's an old man.
Jadeveon Clowney, though, like you need an upgrade, Robbie, especially seeing Tyler Barron do absolutely nothing this summer. You need the help. Like, this team is one injury away from Michael Clemens. And I know fans overreact.
No, they're not one injury away. He's going to be starting.
You think he's starting over Jermaine Johnson?
He's going to be starting in base, most likely.
Interesting. The thing that I think they need an official.
Now, will he get? Now, listen. Don't get confused. Jermaine, and for all intents and purposes, snap count wise, Jermaine and McDonald will have the most snaps.
Yes.
I'm just saying the strong edge in the base when you think they're going to rush the ball or it's going to be two tights or a fullback where it's 21 personnel or 12 personnel, they want Clemens out there on the strong side because he's a bigger body. He's like a D tackle type where you could crash down the line and have someone replace him on the edge. So he's fits that specific purpose of run stopper. Now, when you get him in space, it's a nightmare, as we know. It's a nightmare. So you really don't want him pass rushing. Yeah, but your point is true. It rings true. They're thin. They need depth for sure.
You're not going to get a better upgrade than Zedarius Smith at this point, Robbie, someone who has played in Aaron Glenn's very scheme. And I know you mentioned the age and him getting up there age-wise, but he's continued to give you 9 to 11 sacks a season. The efficiency as a run stuffer continues to elevate. So I'm continuing to tab Zedarius Smith ahead of the season.
Yeah, I won't fight you on it. I honestly won't because they do need depth. They need depth there more than anything else because behind that is Eric Watts, who is sort of Clemens' backup as a big edge, bigger bodied edge. And the pass rushing edges are McDonald, JJ, and JJ is sort of a balanced guy, run and pass, and Barron, and that's just not enough. So I agree with you. And the other sneaky need is third boundary cornerback.
Okay, so behind, you don't think AZ Thomas is able to step into that role?
I mean, if you think Barron didn't do anything this summer, AZ Thomas did less.
Well, AZ Thomas, the thing is, he was dealing with injury too, so I can't give him
injury counts. You got to be healthy to play. Like,
and I agree with that. That's my point with JB.
But you know what? Too, he didn't get hurt until like the first. When did he get hurt? He played
He got hurt August. I'm good with dates. August 9th, I think it was.
Yeah, he played 3 weeks before he got hurt, man, and he was a ghost out there. So, it's just one of those things. Like the narrative is, oh, Barron sucks. He didn't do anything. But AZ, the jury's still out. He didn't do anything. I'm not saying for all we know, Barrett clicks for him midway through the season, and he turns into something. But Stiggers being that third boundary corner makes me nervous. They really need a third boundary corner, and they have depth. Like JBC, Stiggers, and AZ as boundary corners is not bad. That third guy is really lacking.
Isaiah Oliver, he was efficient as a boundary corner last year.
You could play him at boundary if you needed to, and maybe that's what they do. And he's just the first backup everywhere. Free safety, strong safety, slot corner, and boundary corner. That's possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Kent, what a guy, drops in, gives 5 memberships. Shout out to you, Rick. Appreciate your support, as always, here on the channel, gifting 5 memberships. And then he proceeds to ask, how late was Sabo? So,
did you hear my leash burn story, Rick? You'll let me off the hook for this one.
Go right to when Sabo joined. So
go to the beginning. I'll explain it.
The dog walking fiasco, which certainly contribute to it. But to be fair, you let me know via text ahead of the show starting that you would be.
We planned it out. I said, yes. Connor started at 6. I'll hop on at some point afterwards. But Rick, between you and I, don't tell anybody. And we could bring it up tomorrow on the show. I'll be on Asman's show tomorrow. The last couple times, been Asman. All Asman. I've been on time. I'm just not one of those devious dudes who's gonna call him out. Just between me and Rick. With Rick, I'll tell him, but I won't tell the masses. Asman's fault the last 2 times.
Interesting. Have you like established a reputation as someone who's late, Robbie? Is that something that you've established, or?
Let me see. I think is that a yes or a no? I think 1989 it started.
I'm always like it's so interesting. Like I typically try to be early to everything.
So when I was your age and probably up until I started ESNY in 2015, I was the same way. Up and at 'em early all the time. Because when I played football, I had a coach kind of like Tom Coughlin. You could not be late or you'd be doomed. And that kind of trained me. Yeah. Once I started ESNY and the code life started and the developer life started and meetings started to happen on Zoom and all that stuff, something flipped in my head where it was like, I have so much to do that showing up 5 minutes late is still on time. It's a problem. I got to fix it somehow.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm someone who it's intriguing because I was typically always an early bird, even until like these past few years. I was someone who literally in like 6th grade as well, when I was kind of getting to that middle school age, go to bed at like 9:30, 9, a realistic time, and be up and about at 6:30. But now ever since I've gotten into this and doing the podcast and doing the writing, managing school, I've turned into, during school year, it's not fun. I've been like a 12 to 7 guy when school kicks off, but then on the weekends, like I could do like 2 to 12 some days, 2 to 11.
I think it's a digital thing for me. Like even today, if I have to be somewhere in person, I'm there. I'm never late. But yeah, in the digital space, dude, it's a problem. I gotta do something.
Alan says Robbie is the father that Connor always wanted. Now let me clarify here. My dad is the GOAT. My dad is the best.
His dad is the GOAT. I know his dad. His dad is the GOAT. Yes.
Thank you. But Robbie, I will say this: you would be like an elite uncle. Like I would pay to have Robbie Sabo as my uncle. That would be.
Hey, it's I am an uncle to.
Yes.
Let me count them. 7 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
And some would argue a great uncle, like a fantastic uncle, wouldn't have had to count, but it's still 7. So that's the 5 nieces, 2 nephews, and yeah, fantastic uncle because the gifts are tremendous. My niece Aria, I took her to a Knicks game, and she got to see all the Knicks players walk out through the fan tunnel 2 years ago.
What a stud!
I'm set for life.
Oh, there we go. I mean, yeah, and you don't have any children of your own, right? I'm just clarifying.
Correct. So I could just spoil them rotten. And the best thing is,
nothing beats it.
I keep telling my sister, just wait. Your boy Eli, my godson, he will be a drummer, and I will buy him a drum set.
I'm a drummer, Robbie.
Are you really?
I am. I've kind of taken like a step back. Like I played in the band for a while. We played like competitions and stuff. I didn't play this past year, but I'm gonna get back into it school. Like I play. I'm not like a marching band drummer. Like I had a band. We play like Chili.
Oh, you don't wear that hat, the big hat with the.
Oh no,
You know.
I'm drum kit, Robbie.
Well, okay. Well, my point is, I didn't even care about the drums. I just want the house to be noisy. I want to make it miserable for my sister.
Thoughts on my line, Robbie? I know you saw it in the Nick Folk, Jason Taylor, Mason Taylor article that I put through about a month ago, where I think the final line was of Nick Folk talking about how crazy he was playing with Jason Taylor and Mason Taylor. I said, whether he likes it or not, Folk is achieving unk status.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Perfect. It was me and him are in the same age range. What is he? 41?
41. Folk? Yeah. What are you, Robbie? 40?
42.
42.
So
okay,
we're in the same. The earliest. I think I'm a millennial. 1982. I think is millennial, but we're like the oldest millennials. I think. If I'm not
like
mistaken.
the fringe.
Yeah. Definitely not. What was before that? Shoot. Gen X.
Gen X.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Gen Z, but I'm like, I think that's what
No. You're Gen Z, right?
I have to be. I was born in 2011.
God, don't tell me you're whatever comes after Gen Z. I'll jump out of the window.
Like Neil with the cigar.
I can't handle that.
Since given that I'm in Italy right now currently, Robbie, Jets Worldwide says, Connor, what's your gelato of choice? And he wants to know the same question to you, Robbie. What is your gelato of choice?
This is. I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't think I've ever tried gelato in my life.
Interesting. So personally, in my opinion, I like it more than ice cream. But
that's what people say. It's really, it's good.
I'm more of like I'm a Scratchatella guy. That's probably what I'd say is my
Is there vanilla gelato? There is, right?
There is, but Scratchatella is kind of like vanilla, but think of it with like kind of chocolate chunks mixed in. I don't even know. I like chocolate flakes mixed in it. It's delicious. It's elite. So that's what I'd say is my favorite.
Yeah, that would probably be mine too, or just plain vanilla. Because ice cream, it's vanilla all the way.
Wow. Okay. So are you a chocolate guy at all, or just vanilla?
Vanilla. Like listen, I could eat chocolate ice cream if I had to, of course, but no, I'm going vanilla every time.
There we go. Yes, Brian, by the way, I know you said you're logging on late. We just covered Hendon Hooker, so you can scroll back about 5 or so minutes. We spoke about Hendon Hooker. Sunshine to him. Says, have you guys talked about? Yeah,
and I only have a couple minutes left, too, so whatever you got left.
We'll make this the last one. There's so many people in the chat, so shout out to all you guys. We'll wrap up after this. Sun to shine to him says, have you guys talked about DTs yet? No, I think that's a perfect spot to close, Robbie, because we touched on Leonard Taylor. He was ultimately at practice today. Something that I've spoken about a ton is how many locks you look out in this defensive tackle room after you've facilitated all these trades. Harrison Phillips, Quinnen Williams, Jawan Briggs, J2 Fele. Teams typically carry 5, max 6 defensive tackles. Byron Coward, I think, is going to be the biggest decision with him, whether he lands on short-term IR or not, dealing with that ankle injury. And potentially that could open up a roster spot for, again, that's the Leonard Taylor, Peyton Page type realm. Who are the defensive tackles on this team's depth chart, Robbie, tomorrow?
Page was there today. I think he's practice squad bound all the way. And my prediction from Saturday had 6 D tackles. So
interesting.
I think that could be what happens unless Cowart starts on IR, which I guess is a possibility. It was trending towards not happening. He was getting better. I don't know if he was out there. I think he was out there today. I'm not positive though. But they could easily. I think the locks are Quinnen, as you said, Harrison Phillips, Cowart, Tufele. Well, let me take that back. Tufele, the 2 new guys, Quinnen. Cowart would be, but what is this? What's the injury all about? The injury is the wild card, and that's 5. And if they keep Taylor, that's number 6. Would Taylor sneak onto the practice squad? You'd like to think so if they want to go that route, but they can carry 6 and then even carry 5 edges and keep 11. Solid did that in the past, kept 11 D linemen initially. It is definitely doable.
Robbie Sabo, Jets X Factor. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. Everyone smash the like button, hit subscribe. 467 of you guys watching us live. Continue to support the show. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Read us, jetsxfactor.com. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of your support as always. Robbie,
Yes, sir.
thank you for the time as always. Always fun to link up with you as we first time doing an episode since February. So great to do it with you as always. You got any final thoughts, football related, non-football related?
No, I'm gonna do no media tomorrow. Wednesday's the next day, but tomorrow should be fun with the roster, and I think I'm gonna dive into Malachi Moore film tonight and tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that Malachi Moore stuff. I know fans are geared up about the Jets' young safety.
Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Read us, jetsxfactor.com. He's the great Robbie Sabo. I'm your host, Connor Long, right here on NY Flight Jets Talk, saying good night, everyone, at least for myself, as it's 1:15 in the morning here. But most importantly,
way past your bedtime. What are you doing?
Hey, got to make it work. You got to squeeze the pods in, Robbie, every day. The world doesn't stop spinning. World doesn't
legend status. Automatic legend status. I give it to you.
Much appreciated, as always. He's Robbie Sabo. I'm Connor Long, saying have a great night, everyone. And as always, JTS, baby. Jets, Jets, Jets. Peace out.